Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisheshaya Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. So let's start with the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that is Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga Yoga. Okay, so let's understand what is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajna, who is the Kshetrajna, and how do we differentiate between the Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So let's understand what Krishna is meant by the word Kshetra. What is he want to tell about the word? And in this word, in this chapter, he is going to speak about this body, and where is this body in this material world, about this world, about the enjoyer of this world, who are the enjoyers, and what about the consciousness of such people. So now Arjuna is going to ask some more things about this, and these things are actually in the knowledge. It's not in the bhakti, it's about knowledge of this material world. So why do you think Arjuna is asking, why is he asking about the knowledge of this material world? Now he came to know about bhakti, right? Then what is the use of knowing this material world? As I told before, anybody wants to tell? What was the reason behind Arjuna asking that question? Why Arjuna wants to know about this material world when he already knew that bhakti yoga means you are liberated? Anybody can answer in the chat. Anybody? To help Jiva to develop the taste of bhakti. Yes. Yes, Rishi. Correct. So if you, for example, just the corona era went, right? The corona was there. Everybody was suffering. And I know we all were behind the mask. We didn't know when we'll die. Somebody, if we sneeze, we run away from 1 kilometer, right? So that was the age where we were 2021 to, all these years, corona has happened. So before finding the vaccine, they first found out what is the disease. No, first they found out how corona is, how it is getting inside one's body, how it is spreading throughout the body, how a person is dying with this corona, what is its effect, what are its symptoms, and then they started doing the medicine for that, right? That's what they did. First, they try to know about the disease, then we make the medicine. Do we first make the medicine and then do we discover about the disease? We don't do, right? First, we discover the disease, then we start doing the medicine for it, right? That's what medical is. And even in the outside market, if you first notice which is the shortcoming in your home, then you go to the market and buy it. And you buy first and then you see in the home what is pending. No, you first make a list whatever is needed, then you go to the market and then buy, right? That's how we are doing. Similarly, we are in this world. First we have to understand this world. We know bhakti is the supreme, right? Krishna told bhakti is the supreme. Only bhaktas can become liberated from this material world. So first we should know about this material world, right? It's not that Jnana Yoga is the supreme than Bhakti Yoga. But then the thing is, without the knowledge of this material world, you can't come out actually of this material world. So if Bhakti is the culmination, but why is Arjuna, the Jnana is present in the last 6 chapters? So the answer is, in truth, the entire Bhagavad Gita is Bhakti. That I was just seeing through, internet, and somebody a famous personality. I don't want to take his name. He just told in one of the interviews that in Bhagavad Gita there are 3 sections. I said, yes, correct. 3 sections. One is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga is the first 6 chapters, Bhakti Yoga is the middle 6 chapters, and Jnana Yoga is the last 6 chapters. So 1 to 6 is Karma Yoga, which defines karma, and then 7 to 12 it's Bhakti Yoga, and 12 to the 13th to 18th is the Jnana Yoga. So I was like, yes, correct. Then he told one thing that was like in uh, Karma Yoga, the person, if you are a person who likes to do more hard work, you go to the first 6 chapters. If you are a person who wants more knowledge, then go to the last 6 chapters. And if you are an emotional fellow, then go to the middle 6 chapters. I was like, that's not what Krishna told. Krishna told something different. This person was misleading the whole youth. He was telling, if you are sentimental, if you are emotional fool, then go to Bhakti Yoga. That means then you go to emotional path. That's Bhakti Yoga. He was telling like that. But then Krishna never told. Krishna, actually, the entire Bhagavad Gita is about bhakti. Did anywhere Krishna tell that you don't do bhakti, you just work for me? You don't do bhakti. What did Krishna tell? You do work with bhakti. Right? That's what devotional service was. Karma yoga. Why did Krishna says karma yoga? Because you do bhakti with your work. First was the 6 chapters was bhakti through work, Krishna told, right? Most of the people, they don't know this, they mislead themselves, and the last 6 chapter will describe you by gaining knowledge of this material world, how can you do bhakti easily. That's what the last 6 chapters we are going to deal with. The 13th to 18th chapter, by knowing this world, the 3 modes of material nature, by knowing this world, how this world is working, and then once you know the mechanism of this world, then you come out of this world. That's what Krishna is telling. Do bhakti being in this world. How can you do it easily? And middle 6 chapter is the nectar because it's whole bhakti itself. So that's what the 3 sections are. Don't get misled by so many fools in the media. They just don't know anything. They just want to make fun of the devotional service because they think it's the emotional fool. That's why we tell you should know the science behind Krishna consciousness, not just emotionally blindly you take it. You should know why you're chanting. You should know why you are praying to Krishna only. You should know that. That's the science. I suggest a book. There is a book called Science of Self-Realization by Prabhupada. Please do read it. Do read it because it's the science and spirituality, how it can be one. It's told by Prabhupada. So that's the thing. And after these classes, we'll have some science and spirituality classes, where science and spirituality are not meeting each other, where the science and spirituality can be come together and, get into the conclusion what they are not getting till now, the soul and all of that. If we tell about the soul to scientists, I think so their half of their work is done because the entire work is stopped because they are not knowing who is soul, right? And if spirituality is with them, then they'll be easily understood. That's what jnana is. You should know the knowledge about Krishna, then only you can do bhakti very easily. So also in the 12th chapter, Krishna explains how he personally delivers his devotee from the birth and death. That's the Bhavasagara, last sloka of Bhagavad Gita 12.20. So last chapter provides the philosophical knowledge necessary to extricate oneself from the material world. Jnana has its use in assisting our detachment from Maya and attachment to Krishna. So this jnana is not material knowledge. This jnana is the jnana of Krishna, which will make you detach from this material world and attach to Krishna. Hence, when we use knowledge as a mean to attain devotional service, it becomes the heart of bhakti. So one thing is that all philosophical people, so big people who speaks big philosophies, they may not be in bhakti, they may not be in devotional service to Krishna, but you always remember a devotee is always knowledgeable person. He's always having the knowledge, the ultimate knowledge of the Krishna. right? He knows the ultimate knowledge. The person who knows the material knowledge or so-called spiritual knowledge without bhakti, he may not attain anything at the time of death. He may not attain Krishna at the time of death. He may not attain anything at the time of difficulty in his life. But a devotee, although he may not be educated, so-called materially successful, what happens? He knows everything. At the time of difficulty, he is the one who is going to win Krishna's heart, not that person who knows just the material knowledge. So that's what Krishna is going to tell in this world, in this chapters, in these 18 chapters. So questions and answers. There are so many questions given by Arjuna to Krishna. That is, one is Prakriti. In this chapter, because we are dealing with the material science, we'll see some of them, how in this world we are there, and you can actually relate to these things. So because bhakti is beyond our capacity, right? We can't see Krishna, we can't see devotional service, we can't see many things, but you can see material world, you can see Prakriti, you can see the body, no, you can see the knowledge which is in this body, you can see those things, how knowledgeable we are. So all these things we know, so we can measure these things. So first one is Prakriti, this material nature, what you're seeing, the subtle and gross, everything, not just environment, it's material nature. That means the whole thing, how this is working, everything is coming under Prakriti. Prakriti does not mean the nature in this world, the so-called sceneries and environment. This material nature means what we are: earth, water, fire, air, ether, everything is combined in this Prakriti. Then comes the Purusha, that means the enjoyer. Purusha means what? One who enjoys Prakriti, right? One who utilizes that, one who exploits. Exploits means utilizes the Prakriti, utilizes this material world. Who is it? One is man. There is somebody else. Let's know who is another Purusha. And what is Kshetra? Kshetra means the field of activity. And which is it? That's Shariram. Idam Shariram, that's the body, right? We are doing activity using this body. That's why this becomes a field of our activity. Then Kshetrajna means observer of this body. That means there is somebody inside. Nya means one who is observing inside, sitting inside this body. That's the soul. And there is another one soul that's called super soul. That's Paramatma, right? Paramatma is in the heart. Hridadeshe, that means he's in the heart of every living entity. So he is also sitting inside this body. But let's see the difference between those both. And then Jnanam. Jnanam is that once you understand, we are Kshetra, we are not Kshetra, we are Kshetrajna. That means we are not this body, we are souls. That's the actual knowledge. And Neyam means the goal of knowledge. After knowing this knowledge, we are not this body, we are souls. What is the purpose of my living? That's to please Krishna. That's Paramatma. Okay, so Krishna in the first, that's the 13.1 and 2, Arjuna asks questions. That's, oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about the Prakriti, Purusha, and the field of the knower of the field, and of the knowledge, and the end of the knowledge. So the Lord says, what? The body, O son of Kunti, is the field, and one who is the body is one who is in this body is the knower of the field. Okay, so there are four kinds of the things, that is Jagrita, Swapna, and Shushit. Now, why did I take this part? Because we should know what soul is inside this body doing, right? We know soul is inside this body, but what is it doing inside this body? We should know that. You know, what am I doing in this body? Actually, there are four stages of devotion of this soul inside this body. One is Jagrata, what we are at present now. We are 14 members, right? So we are Jagrata, we are awake. Is somebody sleeping? I don't know. Maybe you're sleeping or you're just snoring in front of an online class. We don't know. But then let's assume all of us are now in the Jagrata stage. That means we are awake. We are conscious of the outer, it's experiencer. Experience is nothing but the soul. What is soul? Actually, it's taking all the experience, right? My Prabhupada went to a university in America, and he asked, who is the best knowledgeable student? Everybody raised their hand. And they were like, you go, you go. And at last, the school, the college student council president, he came up. He was like, yes, I am intelligent, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada is like very old at that time. They were all laughing, giggling. What this old man will teach us? What will the old man teach us? So Prabhupada called that person, and that person was standing, and Prabhupada told, point me your nose. So he started pointing his nose. This is my nose. And he was like, what this old man is asking? He is asking me to show show my nose. This is his intelligence. He was like laughing at Prabhupada. Then he was like, okay. Prabhupada told, show me your legs. Where is your legs? He told, this is my leg. Okay. Then about your eyes. Then he told, this is my eyes. And he pointed out his eyes. Then Prabhupada told. Like that, he asked all the various body parts. He is like, where is the lungs? And he showed inside Prabhupada, it's inside. My lungs are inside this body. Then, okay, your lungs are inside. At last, after questioning all, people started laughing, and everybody started laughing. What kind of a question is this he's asking? He's such a great he's telling, and he's asking, where is my nose, where is my eyes, those things. Then Prabhupada ultimately gave a googly to them. They're like, where are you? Prabhupada asked. They didn't know. Where is I? He started pointing out, but he could not. And Prabhupada asked, anybody knows where are you? Nobody. All the giggling just stopped. Everybody saw face to face. And then Prabhupada told, this is what I'm going to teach. Who you are. Who you are. That's what the soul is. That's what Prabhupada told the devotees. First, if you want to come to spiritual life, the first thing is you should know who you are. That's the soul, right? Soul cannot be touched. Soul cannot be killed. Soul cannot be born. And soul is so different. You can't even reach the soul. So it's very inside this body. And what is it doing inside this body? One is that when he is Jagrata, that means when our consciousness, that's why soul is taking all the experiences, right? Soul is never tired. But then inside this body, one thing is that it's Jagrata. Now what we are speaking, we are listening, we are seeing. All this is in the Jagrata. If somebody comes and slaps you, won't you slap him back, or won't you get awake? You will get awake, no? You won't let him sit like that. You will tell, why did you slap me? Because you're awake, you know what is happening. Then comes the swapna stage. You all get dream. The second thing scientists could not understand was where this dream is coming from. They could not understand everything. They test a person who is sleeping. Everything is in the normal state. Nothing is moving. Even so-called chemicals are not. It's just working as normal, but then it's not something. But they don't know from where the dream is coming. But in spiritual life, you come to know the dream is coming because the soul is experiencing. Your body is lying on the bed, but the soul is still awake. What is it doing? It's active. It is playing with your mind. When the soul is playing with your mind, you sleep. Your mind is awake. You're thinking of something and you sleep. You're thinking you were seeing the Discovery Channel. You saw a lion and you slept there. But mind is still it's capturing that image of a lion. And soul, it wants to play with the mind. It makes it feel like the lion is coming running, and the soul is running behind. So all this is happening. That's in the swapna stage. You're a dreaming stage. That happens. Even the daydream you can ignore, but what about the sleeping dream? You can't ignore. No, dreams are there. So where is that dream coming from? Your mind, your soul is awake, but you're sleeping. Your body is sleeping. That's what swapna is. Then comes shushupti. Shushupti means your deep sleep. Not even dream is there. Not even your gross body is awake. Not even your mind is awake. You're in the deep sleep. The soul stops. It doesn't stop. Its experience is not visible in your mind or in your body. So that's shushupti. But then there is something beyond these three. What are those? That is Turiya. Turiya means what? When you are in connection to Krishna, even in dreams you see Krishna. That's for highly elevated person, not for us. What we see Krishna in the dreams, it may be fake also. It's maybe a mind's game. We don't know. But then here, Turiya is for the person who is liberated. Even in Jagrata stage, he is thinking about Krishna. Even in Swapna stage, he is thinking about Krishna. And even in the Shushupti stage, he is connected to the Paramatma, Krishna. So that's Turiya stage. That's what most of the people want to reach. That's the Turiya. That's the Paramatma stage, where you are connected to Paramatma. That's the fourth. So you can see the picture, right? The first one is the Jagrita. That means you're awake. You're doing all the activities and all of that. Next one is the dreams, right? The dreams are coming. So many dreams are there. So they are coming. That's in the Shushupti stage. And then, then the deep sleep. That means soul is, that's you can see here. When you sleep, don't think that soul is also sleeping. Soul is always active. It's there. But the thing is, the activities when you're in deep sleep, it won't affect your mind because mind is also sleeping when you're deep sleep. They eat so-called tablets and sleep. Because of that, your mind is also not working. So soul is working, but your mind is also sleeping. So there is no dream also. So that's the thing. So, O Sons of Bharata, you should understand that I am the knower of the all bodies. But there, you can see who is constant here? Paramatma. You can see this. The Paramatma is there. Soul is also there. Soul is doing all sorts of activities. Paramatma is there as a witness. So many of them, they think that after the death, you become one with the Lord. But Krishna says, no, you can't be one with me. I am a person, you are a person. We can't be one. Rather, what happens? You are there, I am there in every stage of your life. And even after death, I'm there as a separate, you are there as separate. The only thing is that we are together in everything. Till we are in this material world, we are together. Uh, Along with you, I am also coming. That's what Krishna is telling. That is his opinion. What is it? Understand this body, it's the knower. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Now Krishna is saying sarva kshetreshu. With the one soul, there is another one, super soul, which is there in all the bodies. Krishna is there in my heart. Krishna at the same time is in your heart. Krishna is in the same time is in the heart of all the 14 people who are sitting here. Also the parents of those 14 people. Also the grandparents of those 14 people. Everybody is the same. Krishna is there. What is the difference? I know about my alone body. What is going inside my mind, what is happening in my body, I know. Krishna knows each and every body, not just human body, even the ant's body Krishna knows. Even Brahma's body he knows. Everybody's body Krishna knows. And he's not divided. He feels like he's divided. Okay. I'm sorry. Yes, you can hear me? Can anybody reply? You can hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So the same thing that is what if when you are in the stage of consciousness, you remember Krishna. But then dream and all these stages, you won't be able to do that. But Paramatma is always there in the heart of all living entities. That's what Krishna is telling. Like, for example, till the slides come back, I'll give one example that you think you're a farmer, okay? And there is another king. You're a farmer, you have a particular land with you. But the thing is, you know about only your land. What about the king? King has the details of all the farmers, right? All the farmers, all the land. He has the details in his book, no? He has the details in his accounts book. That's the difference between Krishna and us. We know about our body, but Krishna has the account of each and every body. That makes the difference between Krishna and us. Okay. So, yes, even Krishna tells it's not my alone opinion. Even so many sages in the past have told these things, right? All the Vedic literature, they end and they begin with what? They begin with the soul's activities. That's the difference. Okay. So that's what Krishna is going to tell. And then there are people, some are not bothered about spiritual life. They are just behind so-called enjoyment. What happens to them? What happens to them when we are just behind our enjoyment? They won't elevate, rather they become like a they become like an animal, because animal also doesn't want Krishna in their heart. Krishna, sorry, in the sense they don't want to advance in Krishna consciousness. They just want to sit like this only, right? So similarly, if a human being is not engaging himself in Krishna consciousness, he is equal to animal. That's what this slide is going to tell about. Yes. So first one is Annamaya. Annamaya means, the thing is that some people, they don't bother about uh, what is told. They're just behind, they don't want self-realization and as such. Hare Krishna. You can hear me, I hope. So you can drop a message if you can't hear me. Yes. So Krishna is like, you can't like the people who are in Annamaya stage, they are just behind, like animals. They don't think about the future or anything. They just want to have food, and that's it. Their life is done for today, right? You have seen cats and dogs, they are just in this stage. If we are also in this stage, then we are not called humans. We are almost like two-legged human. There is in Shastra, there is one thing, Dvipada Pashu. Dvipada Pashu means two-legged animal. That's human. If we are not using our brain in understanding about spiritual life, then we are just two-legged animals. That means we are just doing eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. What's the difference? Then comes little more, that's pranamaya. When you realize you have to work, you have to earn for your life. That's it. And more of that is manomaya. Now you think, what is my interest? I want to do like that. You know, some people like listening to music, that this. I like my own way, that this people start telling. That's manomaya. And then comes vijnanamaya. That's when you self-realize. That means when you realize that not just about the mind, there is something beyond the mind. That's the intelligence. When you use your intelligence for self-realization, you read Shastra, and that this. Then comes Anandamaya. That is what? When you realize that you are the soul and you should start serving Krishna. Then you get the real happiness. That is Anandamayo. Anandamayo Bhyasat. The soul is called as Anandamayo Bhyasat because it's always in transcendental happiness. The only thing is that because we came into this material world, we are not experiencing that happiness. We are trying to experience from outer source, but that won't give us happiness. When the happiness from inside, right? People say you should be happy inside. How it is happy inside? The soul should be happy inside. And how is it possible? Jivera Swarupa hai Nitya Krishna Dasa. That means the only thing that Jiva has, the soul has, is to serve Krishna. Then only it will become happy, right? So here, which body we are in, let's understand the body, how it is made. We know we are souls. But then, as I said, we are the souls inside this body. So we should know about the body as well. So when a thief enters a home, the first thing he thinks when he enters the home at the midnight, he first thinks what? What does the first thing that a thief thinks when he enters a home to make a theft? What will be the first thing? Anybody can guess? if I'm a thief and I enter into a home, what will be the first thought it will come? What is the first arrangement I will make before committing a crime? Okay, where are the valuables? Then yeah, I'll think that. But then what is the first thing? Yes, about escaping, right? Where is the door? First thing you will open the door and keep so that if somebody comes, I'll escape, right? About escaping, he'll think. The first thing when the thief enters into the home, he thinks of escaping. Similarly, a soul entered this so-called home of this material world. The first thing we should think is how to escape of this material world. So before I want to escape, first I should know the doors of this material world, right? How is this material world done? How is it done? So to escape, if the soul wants to escape from here, so how is this done? We should know at that also, no? So that's what Krishna is giving us information about this material world. So he tells this 5 great elements. What are the 5 great elements? Anybody can tell? What are the 5 elements? Panchabhuta, Panchamahabhuta. What are those 5? Quickly. Even if it's wrong, doesn't matter. Yes. Okay. 4, 4. Why 4? 5. Yes, somebody has given. Yes. Earth, water, fire, air. Then something is there that we don't know. Which is that? No, earth, soil, one and the same. Many of them, they don't know about this earth, water, fire, air, and yes, Rishi is right. Ether. Soul is transcendental. It's not in this count. We are speaking now about the body. Ether. Many of them, they don't know. Ether, they think that's a vacuum. Scientists, they could understand air, water, fire, air. Fire, earth. We could understand. Earth is what you can perceive by your ears. You can hear the earth. If I take a material here and I start hitting to the desk, you can hear the sound, right? That's earth. Earth does not mean this land or soil. Earth means everything which is solid, like a bottle, like a spectacle, like this own mobile, which is made up of matter. Even a mobile is made up of elements, right? All this metal things and all of that, where it is coming from? Earth. So whatever is solid, whatever you can see, perceive by your ears, perceive by your eyes, perceive by the taste. I can taste anything, right? I can taste a soil, I can taste a mobile, anything I can taste. There is a taste for it. So taste, and you can see it, you can smell it, right? Earth, you can smell the smell. And then uh, all these things, one is seeing, smelling, hearing. Earth has a capacity. As I said, if we hit, we can hear, we can touch, right? We can touch this mobile, we can touch the laptop, we can touch everything, whatever we want. We can touch the book because it's made up of earth. Earth means matter, gross matter. That's earth. So we can do this from 5 senses. You can see the horses. There are 5 senses: eyes, nose, ear, touch, that's the hand, skin, and the tongue in the end. So earth can be perceived by all these 5, right? And then comes what? Which one? The water. And in water, one thing goes out. That's that's which one? That's the taste. The pure water does not have taste. So the taste thing will go out. So you can see the water. Sorry, sorry. The smell goes out. So you can't smell the water. No, clean water does not smell. It has taste, so obviously. Then smell. It won't. You can't smell the clean water. So eyes is there. You can see. Then you can hear water flowing, right? Then you can touch the water. You can taste the water. So these 4 things are there. So smelling potency has gone. Earth, water, fire. Now fire, what happens? The hearing, the sorry, you can see the fire. but you can't smell the fire, right? You can hear, you can touch, your hands will burn, but you can taste the fire. The taste element will go away. So the next thing is earth, water, fire, air. Air, what happens? You can't see the air. The only thing you can do is you can hear the air and you can touch, right? Touch in the sense, if you hit on the normal air, you can actually feel that air, right? It's coming to you. So air can touch. You can touch the air. That means a huge cyclone comes, there is air, right? So it has power. So air is there. But ether is something you can just hear. You can't even touch it. And that's called sound, right? There is vacuum. People say in space there is vacuum, but there is sound which is traveling, the radioactive, the sounds are there. So scientists could not even, still now they could not understand how is it working. But Krishna says, including the fifth element, that's the ether, that's where the sound is traveling in the space, that's ether. So that's what Krishna is telling, the fifth element is ether. Then there is something subtle which we can't perceive from eyes, nose, hand, ear, that means the touch, and we can't hear, we can't taste, we can't see. That's the false ego. That means I myself considering I'm this body, we can't see it, we can't touch it. No, we can just have the false ego that's in the subtle body of a soul. Then the intelligence, then the unmanifested, that is the, which one? The three modes of material nature, the rajas, tamas, and sattva, they are also together making this body. And there are the 10 senses, 5 are working senses and 5 are acquiring senses. That's the knowledge. Working in the sense hand, leg, and all of that. And acquiring senses is the eyes, nose, all this, because they are acquiring knowledge, right? Those things. And 5 then the mind, that is, mind is which one? That's more subtle. That's more subtle because mind you can't perceive from all the senses, it's beyond your capacity. And then comes the 5 sense objects. That's object. For eyes you want some object, for nose you want some smell, for hearing you want some sound, for touching you want some, skin or a material, and for tasting you want some taste. That means whichever taste acquiring thing. So there are 5 objects. And then because we are doing all this, and what is Krishna saying? Inside this body, these all things are made up of. How is our body made? Because of these 24 elements. If you count, there are 24 elements till the sense objects. There are 24 elements, and our body is made up of these 24 elements. And Krishna is saying that inside this body made up of 24 elements, the soul is sitting inside. And soul, because it's beyond intelligence, beyond the mind, soul is very subtle. You can't even see it. You can't even a mind cannot capture the soul. It's very inside. So a soul, what is he doing? He is trying to exploit these nature with the help of his body, including the 24 elements. And what is the result? He starts desiring. The soul starts desiring. And because of the desire, the next life is getting. And because of the desire, we are getting another body, right? Krishna says in the 8th chapter, Yam Yam Vapi Swaran Bhavam Tyajatyante Kalivaram. Whatever you desire at the time of death, you become that. So desire is coming to the soul. Then he starts hatred. Something we like, something we don't like, he starts hatred. And there is happiness, distress, and aggregate. All of these things are the life symptoms. There are, what is life symptom? How do you know that person is alive? How do you know? So today somebody was asking, are plants having souls? If yes, how do you tell that there is soul inside a plant? Because soul can't speak, that the plant can't speak or anything. How do you think that how can you prove a person that plants have soul? How can you prove it? Anybody? It's more deeper knowledge. Think. How can you prove a plant has a soul inside it? First of all, do you think the plants have soul? Yes or no? Do the plants have soul? Yes. Then how do you tell that the plants have soul to an atheistic person? He doesn't believe. Today's scientists, they don't believe in all of these things. So how do you tell that? Let's understand from the basic. So how can you tell that the plants have soul in them? What are the symptoms you will show them? So easy, just observe. What is it? By seeing the leaves are green or dried. Okay. So living beings, 5 elements. Okay. The main thing, or the consciousness, right? How do you measure a consciousness in that? Yes, it produces fruits, right? It produces fruits. When you put a seed inside the mud, won't it grow? Won't it grow up? A plant becomes a tree. Won't it grow up? Growing is the symptom of a soul. If can you see a small baby which is no more, it's almost dead, and there is a baby, how can you differentiate if it's alive or dead? Because the baby grows. That means there is a soul inside it. If there is no soul, then the body won't grow, body won't produce, right? Plants produce fruits, plants produce flowers. Why? Because there is a soul. If there was no soul inside it, it will be dead. A dead person cannot produce anything. A dead person cannot grow further, right? Can you tell a baby is growing without a soul inside its body? You can't. Why? The growing is the symptom of a soul. It grows. So one is the life symptom is that it grows. It takes birth in this material world, and then through a material body, and then the material body starts growing. How? Because of the consciousness inside it and that soul. And then it starts producing offsprings, right? It starts producing plants, fruits. Plants gives fruits and flowers. Animal give younger animals. So similarly, a man or a woman offspring, that means they give another child a birth, right? It reproduces. Then it stays for some time, right? For some days it stays, and then ultimately it dies. So these 5 things are the life symptoms of a soul. So you can prove to anybody that there is the simple thing you can give. If somebody says there is soul, there's no soul or such, the simple thing you can ask, that what is the difference between a living man and a dead man? That's soul. Because there's no consciousness, there is no soul. That's the simple answer. Okay, so you always keep this in mind. So only if there is a soul, all this can be happening possibly. Okay, so yes. So when there is a soul, it starts acquiring. As I said, it's always experience. It starts acquiring. And when there is a true knowledge, what happens? There is humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master. This is very important. If you don't have simplicity, if you don't have tolerance, non-violence, pridelessness, humility, you can't approach a spiritual master. And after approaching the spiritual master, what happens? You start cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the object, of the sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of the birth, death, old age, and disease. So 4 things which are evil in our life, in this material world, which are binding us. These are what? Birth, death, old age, and disease. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi. Is there a person who tells, I don't have these 4 things in my life, or any one of these things in my life? Birth, death, old age, and disease. Everybody who is birth has to tell. He has to die, right? Dhruva Mrityu. A person who has born, he has to die. Only the material body takes birth and it dies. That's what the soul has to go through, the experience of birth and death and old age and disease, right? As it takes the shelter of a material body. And then detachment from the fear, the freedom, from entanglement with the children, wife, and home, and the rest. Even mindness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotional service to me. So when you do these things, you can actually do devotional service to Krishna. And what about the thing that has given entanglement with the wife, children, and home? So almost all of us are like in the home where we have parents, and some might have married and all of that. So we can't just leave everybody and go, right? What is Krishna saying here? Krishna is saying how to not get attached. I already told in the second chapter, the first chapter itself, what is attachment and what is affection. So now in Krishna consciousness, how can you change your family? Right? Like because I want to go to Krishna consciousness, I have to leave all these things. No need. Krishna tells, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells, being in your home, you can chant Hare Krishna, and you can serve prasadam to your family members. You can sit together, chant the holy name, right? But the thing is, what happens when you do start with giving prasadam, as I told, at least start offering water to Krishna and mix that water in vessel of, where all of them drink. You put the water inside that. What happens? It's prasadam now. So whole water, whichever it is there, even if it's just uh, purifying water, you put the water into that purifier, you just put. What happens? Because the water is given as the bhoga to Krishna and he has accepted, the water becomes prasadam. And when you mix with the water of people who are in your family, they are drinking the same water, what happens? They also start becoming Krishna consciousness. Slowly by slowly, they also start doing that. Don't tell them, I'm offering CC. Don't tell. Sometimes it's very difficult because most of you are young. If your parents or your neighbors, your relatives will not encourage. Don't tell them about your bhakti. Rather, what you do, you just simply sit, and you don't show them your bhakti. What you do is, you simply go to Krishna when nobody is seeing you. You offer something to Krishna. Just everybody has tulsi in their home. Just pluck a one leaf and put in the water in the vessel. And that vessel, you see that nobody uses that vessel. You keep in a separate, in your room or in your cupboard. You keep it, that vessel, in your room or cupboard. Nobody sees. And you just put some water, clean water, into it and offer it to Krishna and mix that water into everybody's water, so that what happens? Everybody will drink prasadam. So this is how you turn a family into devotees. So slowly by slowly, when they turn into devotees, it becomes easy. So in this way, you're not attached to the family, rather you're using your family in Krishna consciousness. So that's how you're detached from family. Okay, detachment, don't take it as a negative, take it as a positive. How you can really be detached? By making them attached to Krishna. Okay, so detachment from the gross, here it is, detachment from the gross mass, general mass of people, accepting the importance of self realization and philosophically searching for the absolute truth. All this is declared as the knowledge, and besides this, whatever is there is the ignorance. Okay, the same thing. And now Krishna is going to explain about the knowledge, knowable, and knowing which, the taste eternal. That means about the Paramatma he is going to explain. So Krishna is going to speak about the super soul now. Super soul in the sense, the Paramatma feature, the localized feature of Krishna. And he's like, he's the giver of the original senses. You perceive something from your senses, but everything should go through this Paramatma. That we don't know. See, you desire something, but everything is not up to your mark. No, I desire to have a chocolate now, but whatever I try, I won't get a chocolate. Why? Because the super soul is not accepting that offer. Accepting that desire in my heart. He won't allow. He won't sanction it. Only when Krishna sanctions, everything happens. That's the thing. So Krishna is like, original senses are mine, yet I have no senses. Right? Krishna is Sarvendriyani. He has all the senses. But the thing is, he can eat in his ears, he can see in his mouth, he can talk through his ears, talk through his eyes. He's sakalendriyani vrittimante. That means he has senses, but all senses are not limited like us. He can hear through eyes. We can't do that. Krishna is sakalendriya. That's why Krishna tells, all senses are origin from me, but I'm without the material senses. That's what Krishna is trying to tell here. He does not have material senses like us. What about our material senses? It's limited. No, we can hear some hertz only. After that, we can't hear. Bats can hear some hertz. We can't hear what they are saying. Even ants are speaking something to themselves. We can't hear. Our ears are limited. But Krishna, he can hear anything. And he may not use. When you offer bhoga, don't think that Krishna has to personally come and he has to put the hand inside the plate and then eat. It is said just by keeping the bhoga in front of Krishna, he can have it through his eyes, through his ears, through his, when you chant the mantra, Hare Krishna mantra, he can just hear, you know, if you keep bhoga and chant Hare Krishna mantra, what happens? He hears and accepts your bhoga and makes it prasadam. He need not personally put the food inside his mouth just by seeing. When the cowherd boys, after drinking the poisonous water on Yamuna, they were fell down. They were almost dead. How did Krishna wake them up? He just saw them. He just saw them. They were alive back. That means Krishna is not limited like us. Krishna is unlimited. That's what here it is told. Okay. So he is beyond the material modes. And the Supreme is existing both internally and externally. That means he's inside our body as Paramatma. Externally also he is in Golok Vrindavan. He is far, far away, yet he is very near to all of us. That means he is very near. Think Krishna is in your heart. You can't imagine how near he is. How near Krishna is. Yet he feels very far. We can't still reach Krishna. He is very near in your heart. But can you reach Krishna so easily? We feel it's yard far from our home, right? It's far. Golok Vrindavan is so far from this material world. We can't reach there. Yet he is in Paramatma in our heart, but we can't reach Krishna so easily. That's what Krishna is telling. I'm far, far away, yet very near. That's what Krishna is telling here. Okay, Krishna is like, I am the same. I'm the source of the light, the luminous objects. I'm the beyond the darkness of the matter and the unmanifested. He is the knowledge. He is the object of the knowledge. He is the goal of the knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. And what is he doing sitting in everybody's heart? He is seeing the activities of the soul. Soul wants fruitive activities. The super soul is just waiting for him. You can see this picture. This bird which is eating this fruit is like fruit of fruitive activities. It's the fruit of your papa and punya karma. Sometimes the fruit are very sweet because of the punya. Sometimes it's very bad because of the bad karma or papa. So souls, it's enjoys. It's want to eat. It wants to eat the fruits. But what is Paramatma doing here? Another bird in the same branch. The branch is the body, and one bird is the soul, and another bird is the super soul. What is the another super soul is doing here? He's like waiting for the soul to see him, so that they both can go back to Godhead. That means the super soul can guide that soul towards the Krishna. So that's what here it is told. Thus, the field of activities, knowledge, and the knowable must be summarily described by me. Only the devotees can understand thoroughly through the attaining my nature. So Krishna is again saying only a devotee can understand this. So that's why start chanting. And material nature and the living entity should be understood as the beginningless. So Prabhupada in the purport, he writes that we can't actually track when we came into this material world. I can't tell this much year back I came to this material world. Krishna is like, you can't track because soul is from beginningless Aja, that means there is no birth for the soul. There is no death for the soul. You can't even measure when it came in contact with Maya. You can't. So it's like time immemorial. Prabhupada uses that word, time immemorial. We don't know that word ever existed in dictionary or not, but Prabhupada uses that word specifically for this, that the soul is entangled in this material world from time immemorial. You can't even imagine from when the soul has been transmigrated to this material world. So even the Maya, even this material world, when it began, we can't trace. So that's what Krishna is telling here. And the mode of matter are product of the material nature. Okay, the nature is said to be the cause of the material activities and the effect, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various suffering and enjoyment in this material world. So Krishna is saying the Prakriti gives you the body and you are trying to enjoy. Always remember whatever your desires are, according to that, your body is now happening so that you can come easily to the next life. And if you are just eating raw everything and you're like, whatever I get, I'll eat, then Prakriti, she'll give according to your desire next life, right? That's the thing. Uh, there is an example, there's a story. Narad Muni once, what happened? He went to one's devotee's home, not devotee, sorry. He went to one home. Okay, this story you can relate to this transmigration, how Prakriti gives the body. So he went there, and that family man, he was a family man, he had a family. So Narad Muni told, uh, see, you have to take up spirituality now because it's so much time you have been in the family. You are now getting old, almost 40, 50 years. You should renounce and you should be in spiritual path. But that person was like, uh, Narad Muni, I will take that. I will take up the spiritual life, but not now. After some while. Now still my child has to get married, and so many things are there. After that I'll take up spiritual life. And Narad Muni fed up convincing him, and he went. 2 3 times Narad Muni came. He was like delaying. Then Narad Muni ultimately came one day, and that time his wife was crying. The wife was crying. So Narad Muni went, what happened, dear mother? What happened? You're crying, what happened? Then he was like, my husband is no more, he is dead. He was the one who was helping us in everything. We were fully dependent on my husband and everything. But now I have my kids, but still he is no more. He had grown old and everything. Narad Muni was like, Shah, he could have taken spiritual life. Then he noticed one thing. There was a dog which was barking in the home. And he asked, when did you take this dog? Then that lady told, I didn't get that dog. It all automatically it came and started staying. It's very nice to us. And then Narad Muni went near and he recognized that the same person who was dead a day before or a month before, the same person who is the owner of the home, he had become a dog in the same home because he is attached to that home, because he wanted to protect his family. He was so attached. He was like, if I'm not there, then who will take care of these? Narad Muni, he was telling this because of he was so attached to the home, because of he started what you tell attachment to his wife and children, and with attachment to his home. What happened? He became a dog in the next life. Because of his bad karmas, he became a dog. And where did he take birth? In the same home. Like he was attached to the same home, same family. But what happened? The my family can recognize? No. He also does not recognize. But Narad Muni recognized the same person has become a dog. Then Narad Muni told, if you would have taken the spiritual life, now you would have been back to Krishna. You would have not become a dog in this world and attached to your family. So that's what transmigration. You have a desire and you have done some activities. According to your activities and desires, Prakriti, That means this nature will give you the body accordingly, right? That like that man, he wanted to protect his family. So protection is the work of a dog, right? So Prakriti thought of giving him a dog's body. And his activities were also such. He was fully into materialistic sense gratification, into sexual, that these things. So dog is the best animal. So Prakriti gave him the body of a dog so that he can be comfortably enjoying that. You know, so Prakriti does that. That's what Krishna is telling. A living entity in the material nature thus follows the way of life, enjoying the three modes of nature, and thus, due to his association with that material nature, thus he meets with the good and evil amongst the species. So then Krishna says, yet in this body there is another person. Who is it? The super soul. And what is the work of that super soul? The supreme proprietor who exists and the overseer and the permitter. He sees, he witnesses your activities, and he permits. That means he gives permission to your activities. Sometimes you do bad activity, he doesn't give any permission. That's the thing, right? Everything is going right, but last moment nothing worked out. Why? Because Krishna is not sanctioning. The test tube babies are the best examples. What happens? The parents want the babies. They give into test tube. They put everything, fertilizing, that, this, everything they do. And last thing is that the baby won't be alive. That means the fetus is not growing. Why? Because Krishna did not sanction a soul inside that fetus. Right? That's the difference. That's what I told in the first beginning of this class. The growing is the symptom of soul. So because the test tube babies, the fetus is not growing because the soul is not there. Because see, Krishna has not sanctioned the soul to come inside that body, that fetus. Okay. So best example is the test tube babies and all of that. So one who understands the philosophy concerning the material and the living entities in interaction to the material modes of nature will attain liberation. He will not take the birth again in this, regardless in the present position. Some pursue the soul with different through meditation, other through the cultivation of knowledge, and other through the fruitive desires. So karma yoga, jnana yoga, and dhyana yoga, Krishna is telling. But then Krishna gives another thing. Yet again, there are those, although not conversant in the spiritual knowledge, begins to worship the supreme person upon hearing about him from others. Because they hear from the authority, they also transcend from the path of birth and death. I told karma yoga is very difficult because everything you can't leave, or you can't give it to Krishna. There is some satisfaction for your sense satisfaction, right? Then Jnana Yoga, you won't have everything knowledge. If you want all knowledge about Krishna, then it's like hundreds and thousands of birth you have to take. And whatever the Dhyana Yoga, similar. You won't have that much lifetime to do Dhyana Yoga and all of that. So Krishna is telling what? Worship of the Supreme Person, right? When a person may not be having such knowledge, does it not matter if he has the worship. That's what Krishna is coming in the end. Jnana Yoga, that does not mean Jnana is the supreme. Krishna tells, if you don't have Jnana, does not matter. I'll give you. But when I'll give you? When you do devotional service to me, right? Buddhi Yogam tam. I'll give you Jnana. Does not matter. But first thing is you should do devotional service to me. Then only it's possible. So whatever you see, the existence, both moving and non-moving, is the only combination of the fields of activities, the knower of the field. So everything is going because the desire of the soul and the super soul and the Prakriti. So one who sees the super soul accompanying the individual in the bodies, then who understands neither the soul nor the super soul is destroyed ever actually sees. That means once you come to this knowledge that the soul and super soul both are in one body and they both are non-destructible, that means this body itself is going. Body itself is going. The five great elements and all these 24 elements, they are temporary, they'll go. But the soul inside that is permanent. It's constantly transmigrating from one body to another. One who sees the super soul equivalent to present everyone in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind and approaches the transcendental destination. One who can see the all activities are performed by the body which is created by the material nature sees the self does nothing. Actually, we think this in this photo there is something, no? The soul is driving and Paramatma is sitting behind. But actually, we are thinking like that. But the thing is, it's ulta, or it's different. It's vice versa. What happens? The super soul is driving. The soul is just desiring, standing behind, because the soul does not know how to drive this body. Only Krishna knows. Soul just desires. Prakriti drives, and Krishna sanctions. That's the thing. Okay, the sky, due to the subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although is all pervading. Similarly, the soul is situated in the Brahman vision, does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. So then what Krishna says, the son of Bharata, owes as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity within this body illuminates entire body by consciousness. That's why it said, how do you know there is a soul inside that body? Because the body is conscious. That's the thing. And Krishna says, once who knows this science of body and soul, he is getting liberated. Why? He comes to know, I'm not this body, I'm the soul, and Paramatma is always there in my heart. He starts worshipping the Paramatma. That's Krishna. And what happens? Krishna will give him the spiritual realm. That's what this 13th chapter is all about. Little difficult because of all the uh, what you tell, all this knowledge that Krishna is giving about the soul, super soul, kshetra, kshetrajna, all are technical words. But then, as Krishna says, he will give you intelligence. Then we should just try to understand whatever small things we have understood. It's good for us. Even swalpamapyasya dharmas, if you understood even smaller than smallest things, you can start doing devotional service. No, that's the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Yes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any questions? If I had missed any question, you can ask that. Okay, if there are no questions, we can end, right? Does souls have feelings? Yes, they are, right? If you want to serve Krishna, then there is some loving feeling. The only feeling Krishna has is Anand, the soul has is Anandamaya Bhyasat. Ananda means eternal bliss. Sachit Ananda. Every time we tell about the soul, that's Ananda. It's always happy. Happy, why? Because the only feeling that the soul has is happiness. And the only thing which we are hankering is happiness in this material world. When we realize we are souls, we can actually feel that happiness. And how can we recognize ourselves as the soul? By start doing devotional service. When you start doing devotional service, don't you feel so happy seeing Krishna? Where is that happiness coming from? Coming from the soul. Scientists tell it's just feelings are just made up of chemicals and atoms, all of that. Does neutron have feeling? Does all this oxygen, hydrogen have the feelings? No, the soul has the feelings. That's the most important thing. The soul is feeling happiness, and because the soul is not in connection to Krishna, it starts suffering. All the material things, all distress and everything is coming because the soul is not serving Krishna, right? We are stopping the soul from connecting to Krishna. What happens? Automatically the hunger for happiness starts. And when it starts to search in this material world, it starts getting sadness, it starts getting all sorts of disturbance, all of that. But the soul is always trying to be happy. It's always happy. The only thing is we don't recognize it. Okay. Yes. So Hare Krishna. I hope Sairaj Prabhu's answer is the question is answered.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Yes, so we can end this class. Yes, think about this because it's very more scientific. As I said, Bhakti Yoga is not just what you tell emotional thing. It's more about the science. We should. That's why the book called Science of Self Realization. If you buy from ISKCON Bangalore, this book comes with Bhagavad Gita and all of the your beads, chanting beads. We give this. One is chanting bead bag, and Bhagavad Gita book, Science of Self Realization. These four things we give with Bhagavad Gita and with just there is some price, maybe 600 rupees or something. You can purchase from our website. Okay, there is no delivery charges and all of that. You can buy. So this book comes with it, the Science of Self Realization. You can read it. Okay. Yes. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantu koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.